Hello, welcome to Underlords Universe. I'm Brian. This is my brother Brent. As you can see, he is Perry Mason today, and I am Hero. That is because we are ranking. This is part two of a ranking series we're doing on the Ozzy Osbourne albums. Now, if you are new to our channel, we do a creative project called Underlords of the Overworld. We write and record music. Our bass player writes songs. More on that at the end of this. But we basically like to kind of touch base about the things that we grew up listening to that would inspire us, that we love, blah blah blah. And we invite you to enjoy to join in the discussion because, well, that's just what we do. So, like I said, this is part two of an Ozzy Osbourne album ranking. We did part one a few weeks back, which covered the first four Ozzy solo albums. This is going to cover part two, which is going to cover No Rest for the Wicked and No More Tears and Ozzmosis and then Down to Earth. And we rate things a little differently than maybe other people out there. We use a ranking system where we award up to 5 points for every song on the album, and then we divide by the total number of points possible for a score. That keeps things kind of surprising for us because sometimes we don't really know how things are gonna shake out. So we like to kind of crunch the numbers and then meet up on in this format and talk about the stuff. And then we just put it out there for anybody else who happens to be interested in the subject, and you can join in. So if you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, stick around, tell us where we're wrong, where we're crazy, where we're spot on, etc., etc. So when we are done with all three parts, because we're going to do Ozzy's catalog in three chunks, then we're going to meet up together for part four to do an aggregate ranking of all of Ozzy's solo albums. Did I miss anything, Brent?
You got it all. You nailed
No,
it.
got it all. Okay. So, like I said, we already did part one, the first four Ozzy albums, which were, of course, Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, Bark at the Moon, and The Ultimate Sin. And I had a little bit of a surprise with that one. I really did. I'm not going to necessarily give it away here, but if you want to watch it, I'm going to link part one down below. But I was kind of surprised at one of the outcomes on that. And I'll just hold off on saying whether or not I'm surprised on these four, but we chose to do it in these three chunks because you kind of have like the original kind of 80s Ozzy era, and then you've got like the Zakk Wylde, kind of the dominant Zakk Wylde era, and then kind of I mean, Zakk comes back, but it's kind of the post-Zakk era, so to
Mhm.
ish. So that's kind of how we divide it up, and of course, there's 12 albums, so that kind of it makes it a nice 4 divisions. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each album. We're going to talk about high points, low points, comments about the songs, production, etc. And then at the end, we will disclose to each other and to any potential viewer who still happens to be with us what the ranking is. And if you want to jump to that, I'll hyperlink it below as well. So Jakey Lee leaves the band. There's some shuffling around, and of course he brings in Zakk Wylde, and we start with the first Zakk Wylde Ozzy album, which of course is No Rest for the Wicked. What is that, 88? Is that right?
Yeah, a very young Zakk Wylde,
Yeah, he
20
was
years old,
20.
20, I think. Yeah.
Dude was a monster on
Yeah.
at 20. Unbelievable player, but yeah, so I'm gonna look at my notes here. First of all, I think I want to say, I mean, obviously, I was aware of Ozzy. I remember, as we were growing up, as we were kids, I remember seeing the shot in the dark video all the time on MTV. They would also rotate the video for like, Bark at the Moon and stuff. Uh, but I think No Rest for the Wicked would have been the first new Ozzy album that had come out kind of where I was like not only aware of him, but maybe kind of willing to actively give him a listen and go like, okay, you know, because you and I had both been into Van Halen, Kiss, things, and then, but I think That's my recollections. I don't I recall kind of No Rest for the Wicked being kind of the album. I wouldn't say that. Well, maybe I will say it kind of got me into Ozzy. I don't know. Is that
Yeah, I think for me it would have been like around the same time, Ultimate Sin, 85, 86-ish, with the
okay?
heavy rotation of Shot in the Dark, Bark at the Moon, and then of course when this record came out, you had Miracle Man on MTV.
Yeah,
So and you couldn't escape those videos. They were on a steady rotation. So I think our recollections kind of sync up that way. I
yeah,
think that's correct.
yeah. Okay. So first of all, overall, how does this album does it does it age well for you? Because when I put it, I hadn't listened to it for a while, and it'd been quite a while since I'd listened to it. I put it on, and I thought, yeah, I kind of remembered. I used to love the way this album sounded, but
Hmm.
it hasn't aged as well sonically for me. That's not to say I hate it or anything. Randy Castillo's snare drum is awfully bombastic. It's a very late 80s production, you know. So in that context, it's fine, but it didn't quite live up to my memory sonically. Um, but once I kind of settled back into it, it was like almost like putting on an old pair of shoes or something. It was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay. It
yeah,
kind of fits. It kind of fits. So even though
yeah.
it's not my favorite, I'm kind of willing to let it slide, if that makes if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
Um, and I do think that Zach's playing on it, he really is kind of like that guitar player that really introduced all those like pinch harmonics, which I'll admit it gets a little old to me. And when other players do it, it kind of like, okay, I don't need to hear that.
Every song.
Yeah. Um, but it's kind of his signature thing. So I'm a little bit more forgiving for when he's, doing that stuff. But what's your take on just the overall sound of the record, the production of the album, the mix, etc.?
Well, it's interesting that you brought that up because I had Facebook memories pop up the other day and I did a random review for this album like 5 years ago or so. And I read the review and it's kind of like I feel the same way today that I did when I did the review. And you already touched on the production not being the greatest in terms of the overall sound of the record, but this is 1988. If you want to compare the production and sound of this record to something like Kiss's Crazy Nights record, which is just 1 year earlier, I'll take this all day. I think Crazy Nights is way overproduced. Um, my review mentioned that Randy's snare drum sounded like he was hitting a pancake that was saturated with maple syrup. Um, so the guitars are even a little bit thin, but Ozzy's voice I think is produced really well on this record. It's a strong
Yeah.
vocal album. Um, and so in that respect, I think he actually sounds quite good on this record. And you made a comment about getting back to this record and it kind of like putting on an old shoe or a pair of old pants again. That just feels and fits right. And I think that's a really good analogy. So I quite like their production actually, even though it's not that great. It's like I can't really imagine listening to some of these songs any other way. It's very cliche to say that, but
Yeah, it's
over we've listened to this record now for almost 40 years. This is what it is, and
yeah.
it's not the greatest, but it works for this batch of songs, I think. And there are some really fine songs on this record.
Yeah, I think it's considering the production in the context of its time. It's kind of like if you put on like Rat, like Invasion of Your Privacy or
Yeah,
something. It's like you expect it to sound like that 80s, you know,
yeah.
big snare kind of thing. And
But
so
this record,
now
you would agree, this record's not as polished as like Invasion, or it's certainly
no,
not as
no,
like
no, 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 but
Night.
you but
It's,
you
it's
you
lacking some of that luster.
you made a reference to Kiss's Crazy Nights, which was produced by Ron Nevison, and it's interesting because No Rest for the Wicked from our previous episode was obviously produced by Ron Nevison, and that album sounds kind of clunky to me, boxy and stuff. So it's kind of it's like
Ultimate Sin, yeah.
I can't quite put my finger on Ron Nevison as a producer, but this was produced by Roy Thomas Baker and um, oh, good heavens. Why is Keith Olsen? Yeah.
Yes.
Keith Olsen and Roy Thomas Baker. So, and I don't really know the extent to which there was like, one of them produced maybe some of the songs and, the other produced other songs. I don't know if it was necessarily a collaborative production, but maybe a viewer out there knows more than I do on that one. But I do think it does sound cohesive straight through. So
Yes.
even if it's a few songs produced by one and a few produced by the other, there is a cohesiveness to this album. I think that's quite satisfying. Um,
Hmm.
okay, now how about in terms of the songs themselves? High points for you. What are some high points for you on No Rest for the Wicked?
My favorite songs on the record are "Fire in the Sky" and "Hero." I
Aha.
give those 5 stars apiece. Other tracks that I quite like would be "Miracle Man," "Crazy Babies," and "Demon Alcohol." I gave those all 4 stars. So half the record is 4 and 5 star material. Um, Not really any low points on the record, but if I had to pick my least favorite song, it would be "Breaking All the Rules." I find it to just be a little bit mundane
Yeah.
and boring. And even though Geezer's in the video, which is great, he doesn't play on the record, but he is in the video. And that song really has never done a whole lot for me. "Devil's Daughter" is a little middling, but I'm really picking here because those are still 3.5 star songs.
It's
It's a
it's
pretty strong album
it's
across the
funny.
board.
It's funny because your comments are almost exactly like mine.
Well,
Firing.
that's And for the record, we have not discussed this prior to our
No,
little thing
no,
here.
we haven't. And if you watch enough of our stuff, you'll see there's areas where we don't agree at all on certain things. But yeah, I have Fire in the Sky and Hero. Well, there's a reason I used Hero as my little name down
Hero,
below.
hero,
That's
like song. You're not.
I am, but that's in the original pressings of that album. It was like a hidden bonus track, which always kind of was like, why? It's like arguably the best song on the record.
I know.
Uh,
I never understood that either.
and I think Fire in the Sky is that's just epic. I
Yeah,
I
one of
absolutely
his
love that song. I
one
I,
of
I
his
I'm
one of
sorry.
his best one of his best vocal performances I think that he ever did is on that song.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Um, and I also put Miracle Man up there in that level. I absolutely love the riff and the groove in Miracle Man. It's a great album opener, I think. I like Demon Alcohol quite a bit as well. Um, I think that that kind of snaky riff in the chorus that that really catches me. Um, I agree with you also on breaking all the rules and Devil's Daughter being kind of
Hmm.
I mean, they're fine. I can listen to them. I don't love them, but I don't like hate them or anything. So it's like, yeah, they're three. One song I have a little bit of a difficulty with is Crazy Babies. I actually
Love the
musically I like it quite a lot. I kind of have to be in the right headspace for it because it is a bit goofy. I think it's just a little cornball to me. Um, but I still gave it 3.5. That's what I gave Crazy Babies.
give it a
But
4.
what's the lowest score you gave a song on?
I gave Breaking All the Rules a 3, and that's the low point on the record for me.
You said Breaking All the Rules? Okay, I gave that a 3 as well, but my low point is actually Tattooed Dancer. I gave that a 2.5.
Ooh,
What'd you
I
give?
give that three and
Uh,
a half.
I, when he says Tattooed Dancer, dance for me, it's just like that is
It's cheap.
so stupid.
I
But
like the music. Yeah,
honestly, the music, even that, it's like, yeah, it's fine, it's okay. But that part of the song, it's just like that dropped it. that dropped a half a point right there for me.
I've done that on other. I get it. Sometimes you hear a lyric or whatever, and you're just like, I can't accept that, and you immediately dock it for that. I
Yep.
didn't do that. I certainly respect that you did. I get it.
Yep.
So when you were going there, I knew exactly what you were going to say before you
Yeah.
even said it.
But honestly, even despite that, I don't even know. Like, I don't, even without that dumb line in the song, I still might give it 2.5. It's never been a song that really grabbed me at all. Um,
And that's how I feel about breaking all the rules. I mean, the best thing is the video with Geezer,
yeah.
and other than that, but I don't dislike the song. You giving this a sub 3 rating, you're basically saying I don't like Tattoo Dancer. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but based on
No,
how
well, you just did put words. Because here's, you know, to me, the way I looked at it is 2.5 is like, it's like right in the middle. It's like, if I was listening to this album, like in my car where I can easily skip, tracks, um, if I could just as easily listen to it or just as easily just hit next. That's how I view it, 2.5.
okay.
It's like, yeah, it's there. There might be something about it that annoys me, or there might be a part of it that I don't like, and that's the case in this song. But it's what I gave it. Now, who knows? Maybe if I listen to it again on another day, I might give it a 3. But I'm certainly not going to give it a 5 or a 4. That's kind of the way this stuff rolls. So,
You,
um,
you like blood? You like Bloodbath in Paradise?
yeah, yeah, I do. I gave that a 3. What, a 3? Yeah, 3.5.
You do.
It catches my ear, it sticks in my head, but I think it's a good song, yeah, for sure. So yeah, but it's funny because Fire in the Sky and Hero and I would add Miracle Man, those three. And then with Demon Alcohol, probably my if I had to take the top four, those would be it. So um
Me too. Those would be my picks as well.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So there you go. No Rest for the Wicked, Ozzy Osbourne 1988. And then we move along to No More Tears, which was, God, what is this, 91?
One, yeah, what a huge record that was.
This obviously, yeah, massive, massive seller. Clearly because of Mama, Mama,
I don't
I'm
know
coming home.
why you do that because he
Huh?
doesn't sound like that. I don't know why you guys do that. He doesn't sound like that.
I don't know. It's just, who says Mama? I don't know.
Brett,
So if you're getting a sense of, do I like that song? Well, let's find out what I gave it.
well, you want to jump to that right away? You don't want to.
To the song?
You don't want to kind of do a little bit of the background on the record.
Sure, go ahead. And then we can jump to that.
Well,
Mama.
I I think the record is like quadruple platinum. If I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's certainly one of the biggest selling albums of his career. And I know
Yeah.
we went out of our way to see him on this tour, a couple times at least. We don't want to get into the foibles of that those excursions, but I didn't really know what this record was going to come out in terms of a grade, but I'm going to say that it really checks all the boxes in terms of I think it might be his best vocal album as a solo artist. I would say that you can probably maybe go back to Sabotage and maybe Sabbath Bloody Sabbath as two of his best vocal albums in Sabbath, but No More Tears might be his best vocal album as a solo artist. And again, we have Zach playing some fantastic guitar. There's light and shade on this record, more of the Zach's famous pinch harmonics, which I agree. If they become too excessive, they kind of take away from the song. But it is his signature thing, and I think they're done quite tastefully on this record. This record is really, really good. In rating it, it's even better than I thought that I would rate it as. And I came to kind of refamiliarize myself with how much I love some of the tracks on this album. So you kind of alluded earlier to when we go through these exercises, we're kind of rediscovering things, and this was kind of a rediscovery for me of just how good No More Tears really is. Um,
Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting.
so
I agree with you that it's a very good vocal album for him. And of course, this is in the days before, like, simple auto tuning and pitch correction. So you do got to give the guy some credit, even if you don't like, like the timbre of his voice or something. He still, I think,
Right.
does a good performance. Um, although as an album and the songs themselves, I don't agree.
That's interesting.
Nope,
That's
nope. Um, so that's a good segue to get into the songs themselves, I think. I do think that it sounds good. I think it's
oh
another
yeah.
really well-produced record. So.
Yeah, I think it sounds great, and it has a unique. It's like none of the other records that he has done sounds like No More Tears. It doesn't have any. There's nothing really I can say to slag the production. There's
Yeah,
no. I don't have any
double.
complaints about
You could double check me on this, but I think Dwayne Barron and John Purdell, I think they produced Dream Theater's Awake album as well.
it. So that would be around the same. That's yeah, around the same time period.
No, that's 94. So,
Yeah, but
but yeah,
3 years.
yeah, yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, if my Dream Theater albums are right over there, I could go look, but I won't. But if somebody out there knows, you could correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I honestly, and it's not that I dislike the record or anything, but um, I, I, Mr. Tinker Train is difficult for me. Musically, I think that album or that song is awesome. Um,
Hmm.
and as I understand the song, um, as I understand the intent in the lyric is that Ozzy himself had been subjected to abuse as a child. So I think it's being written from kind of that, with that in mind. But the it does have a bit of an ick factor on lyrically that
Hmm.
it's just hard for me to kind of, yeah, it just, yeah. So I don't listen to it. I mean, I did again for this exercise, and I mean, I can listen to it. I try to keep his background in context when I listen to it, but it just, yeah, it's not really my thing. But having said that, because the music is so powerful in that song, I did give it a 3.5. So,
Yeah,
um,
before.
okay. The high points for me on the record, though, are Desire, which
Mhm.
I gave that a 4.5. And I could see somebody maybe saying that Desire is almost it's almost a cliche kind of rock song, but I'm sold on it. It works for me. I think it's great. And I also
Oh
think
yeah.
that AVH I
Hmm.
give that a 4. Which is a
Hmm.
nod to the Aston Villa football team. It's the AVH is Aston Villa Highway, so it's a nod to the Aston Villa football team in Birmingham, England. Football meaning soccer for
Yeah.
us Americans. And I also would say I gave this a 3.5, but on certain days I might bump it up. But Sin, SIN,
Hmm.
AKA, sometimes it's also printed as won't be coming home. But I
It's
like that
shadows
song.
in the night. Shadows in the night is what sin stands for.
Yes, that's right. Shadows in the Night. Um, but but I would say if I had to pick two, it would be Desire and AVH. Those would be the top two.
Okay.
To me, there's a lot of 3.5 on this. I mean, I Don't Want to Change the World 3.5. I give
Hmm.
No More Tears, the title track, 3.5, even though I could see a reason to actually give it more than that. It's a unique, weird song. So part of me says, God, you should give No More Tears like a 4.5, or something like that. And even though I appreciate its kind of uniqueness and its weirdness, to me, it still just comes in as a 3.5 to me. It's like I can appreciate it, but I don't necessarily love it.
Sure. That's
So
fair. You're just being
yeah.
honest.
And by the way, some of these songs are co-written with Lemmy Kilmister, but not No More Tears. That was actually co-written with Mike Inez, who did not play bass on this album. Bob Daisley actually came back in. So even though Mike Inez wrote the bass line for No More Tears, it's Bob Daisley playing it, folks. That's just kind of the way it went.
Yeah, they give Mike some interesting credits on the album, but basically it doesn't say that he played bass. It's like something I forget exactly what they say he
Yeah.
did. Not, but you're right. Bob Daisley did the bass on the record, even though Mike Inez wrote that
Yeah.
riff.
I'm too lazy to look and see what it says, but it says something in there, yeah. Um, so what about low points?
Well, do you want me to do my high points first,
Yeah, okay,
or do you
sure.
want to do?
No, yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Because I just did high points.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
in all fairness, I did my high points and like mid points. So
oh, okay. So we agreed on the last album a lot. We don't agree on this record, which is fine. I'm happy to tell our viewer how you're wrong. And we'll do that here.
our viewer.
I think, yeah, I think that okay, your comments about Mr. Tinker Train are well taken. I think that's a fair criticism. I don't know if you could get away with writing a song like that now. It's kind of like Christine 16 on steroids.
Yeah, and I think I get the intent behind it. Um,
I get
but
it.
but
You
yeah.
got to be careful because we don't, if you were to ask Ozzy, he might have said, "Yeah, I'm writing it. It's written from that perspective, and that it's intended to do that. If
Yeah,
that's the case,
I'm
it
sure.
accomplishes. Yeah. Um, for me though, this record, the first one, two, three, four, five songs, this is about as strong a start of a record as you could possibly ask for. So I'm giving I Don't Want to Change the World, Mom, I'm Coming Home, Desire, and No More Tears all 5 stars. Every one of them. And I give Mr. Tinker Train a 4. I give Sin a 4. I give Hellraiser a 4. So you get all the way down to Hellraiser and you get nothing but 4s and 5s.
So
And then you get to Aviate, and that's another 4. So this record just is chock full of really, really good songs, including
um
the Mama Coming Home, which was co-written with Ozzy's good friend Len.
yeah, so you gave Mama I'm Coming Home a 5.
I sure did, and I can tell you why.
Go ahead.
I love Ozzy's voice on the song. It's one of his best vocal performances. I love Zach's guitar work. I love the beautiful background vocals. There's also a vocal that you kind of hear very faintly in the background during parts of the song, which is beautifully mixed in with the track. I think it's one of Zach's best guitar solos. I love that there's parts of the song that are heavy. There's parts that are light. The music video is a fantastic video. I just was it overplayed on MTV? Sure, but I have no problem saying that this is a fantastic song. It's a really good piece of song crafting on their part. It might be some of Zach Wild's best ever playing, and again one of Ozzy's best performances.
Um,
I've always liked. Not sure if I was going to give it a 5, but when push came to shove, I did.
so I don't disagree with you in the sense that it's a well-written song and well produced, well performed. Um, there are songs where certain elements just kind of grate on me. And to me, it's I don't know why, but the mama thing, it just I don't know, just doesn't work for me that much. But it's like it's that's a small quibble. It's really to me, it's mostly the overplayed element. Like I'm not when I rate songs, I'm not rating them based on like how good the song is in terms of objective songcraft, because it is a really well written song. No doubt about it. I'm just kind of rating it based on how much do I like it. And I know you are too.
Mm-hmm.
I know you are
Mm-hmm.
too. I'm just
Yeah,
clarifying that because I there are songs that are like take a song like Heart's Barracuda. You could argue that that's overplayed. I never get tired of it ever.
sure.
Uh, Rush's Tom Sawyer. I never get tired of it. Never.
Mm-hmm.
Mama, I'm Coming Home. I got tired of it. I just never needed to hear it ever again. So I give it a 3 because
That's
I do recognize it's a good song, and it's not that I like, oh my God, I dislike it or whatever. It's just kind of like, yeah, I kind of got overplayed and I just don't really need to hear it again. Um, Now, I will say you make a compelling argument though about the sequence of those opening songs. Tinker
Mhm.
Train, I Don't Want to Change the World, Mom, I'm Kind of Home, Desire, No More Tears, Shadows in the Night. That is like it is boom, 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 boom. I mean, it is really solid. To me, it's just
Yeah.
not solid five. To me, it's just like really solid, like solid 3.5 to 4, kind of in that range, with Desire being the real standout track for me on that.
Oh, I
Um,
love design and
which
the
sounds
title track.
yeah, it sounds to me like the rest of them are kind of all on par with Desire for you, whereas to me they're all really solid, but then Desire just kind of like really ramps it up there. But then I got to admit, I'm gonna go into the negative territory here. I do not like Hellraiser. I don't like Time After Time. I don't like Zombie Stomp. Those are three songs that are like dud, dud, dud. Now, can I listen to them? Yeah. I mean, I did give them 2.5. So like again, if I'm in my car, I might let it roll, but I just as easily could skip them. I do not like the melody in Hellraiser. Sorry. I just don't like it.
That's okay. Yeah, I give Hellraiser a 4.
Yeah.
Um, but we actually agree on Time After Time. My least favorite songs on the record are Time After Time and Road to Nowhere.
I
Um,
I give Road to Nowhere a generous 3.
I do too. I think the album kind of ends with a whimper. I give Zombie Stomp a 3.5. Lyrically, it's kind of stupid. I do like the music. I think the guitar, the way the guitar kind of chugs along is pretty cool. And the
Here's my
but
note. Here's my note on Zombie Stomp. Music is cool, but it's just dumb. And so
it is,
like to me, that's a song where the lyric and vocal is just it's just too dumb and it really detracts to me
yeah.
from the music. But
I could give it a 3 on another any given day.
so
The record ends kind of on a whimper with I have a 3.5, and a 3. So it starts really strong and ends kind of mediocre, fair to midland. Again, when I give a song a 3, I don't dislike it. But Time After Time and Road to Nowhere are they're kind of boring.
yeah, I think
They
they're
don't
boring.
they don't stand up to the electricity that's in the first half of the record.
So what did you give Hellraiser?
I'll give that a 4.
Oh, so okay, because I just to me that melody that I just I really don't like that melody. It's like just shut up. I probably should have given it a 2, honestly, but I gave it 2.5. So
Yeah, the melody doesn't, and
yeah, I mean,
I do like the chorus. Do you
yeah,
like, well,
the chorus is yeah. I mean I could see an argument for the chorus.
maybe you'd like Lemmy's version better. I'm sure you've heard it. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if
I've
you've heard
heard it. I've heard it. And to be honest with you, I think that's why I gave it 2.5 because I actually do like the chorus. I probably would. I think of the chorus kind of in the 3 range, and
it.
the
Yeah,
verses are in the 2 range, so that averages out to 2.5. So there we go.
I can
Um,
see why you don't care for the verse. It's the same thing when we talked about Bruce Dickinson and Rain on the Graves. It's kind of a similar concept. It's just
yeah, but let's not get
you're
too far down that rabbit hole because we got those episodes
oh,
coming.
oh,
But
yeah,
you're right.
but and, yeah, but I totally get it. I mean,
Yeah,
and I know you well enough to know that that's a very genuine reaction that you would have. I get that.
yeah.
So we actually agree on some of this record, but by and large, it looks like we're kind of divergent on No More Tears,
I think it's just a matter
which
of
is
intensity. It's honestly, I would say it looks like we actually agree. It's just a matter of to what degree we agree,
right.
because you both agree the first half of the album is the stronger half.
Oh
So,
yeah,
so there we go. Now, I do think, and I'm ready to move on to Ozzmosis if you are.
and too.
So you got Ozzmosis, which this came out what
95.
95. You got Ozzmosis. I I did not I never I didn't buy it. By the time by the time Osmosis came out, I was kind of done with Ozzy. And so in full disclosure, in fairness to any potential viewers out there who might be like super huge Ozzy fans, it wasn't until maybe, by the way, if you hear my dog barking, she's freaking out upstairs, so she must see something. Um, I think I bought Osmosis used, I think maybe 3, 4 years ago, and then did not pick up anything post Osmosis until this year, just in full
It's
disclosure.
fair.
So to be honest with you, I mean, and I listened to Osmosis when it came out because you had a copy of it, and I listened to your copy, and I was familiar with the record, but I kind of checked out from Ozzy if there's a range of reasons why I'm not going to bother going into, but um, it's just kind of the way things worked. And I will admit in full disclosure that with his passing, I thought, it's time. I'm just I'm gonna just commit to really digging into those latter albums and see what they're like. But I first had to kind of pull Osmosis back out because I hadn't listened to it for quite some time. And there's a much wider range of outside writers on this.
Hmm.
I think the album has less of a band feel. And I
Hmm.
think that to me that is the case from Osmosis all the way up to the last album. I think when you look at the first album, Blizzard of Oz through No More Tears, there are lineup changes, but they feel like bands. Like this is a band
Right.
doing an album. I think once you get to Osmosis, it's now really like, even though Zach's still in the
Corporate.
band, it really truly is a solo thing, and he's like, you know, working with different writers, and he's got different, I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of that with Lemmy on the last album, but it really expands with this.
It's kind of an era that I refer to as corporate Ozzy. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I can see that. I used to really, I still do. Well, let's a quick comment on the production. Um,
Hmm.
Listening to this again,
Really thick. It's really thick in
it's
some cases.
it's it's really thick in some areas, but I was listening to like the hi-hat, especially on Perry Mason, and it was
Mm.
like, God, that sounds tinny. Just really thin and tinny. It didn't match the thickness of some of the other elements. It's like um, I could almost see a case for remixing some of this. Um, but that's just my ear. I don't know.
It's not, it doesn't sound as good as No More Tears.
I don't think so. I'd love to hear Perry Mason with, I mean, most of the mix I don't have a problem with. It's just that hi-hat. It's like I'd like to hear the hi-hat be just a little rounder, a little fuller sounding. So when my ear focuses on that, then it kind of starts to bother me a little bit. Um, but having said that, it's I think it's a reasonably well produced album. It sounds good. But like you say, it's kind of a corporate rock kind of thing. My high points are Perry Mason and My Jekyll Doesn't Hide, which Geezer co-wrote.
That's true.
I do believe Geezer also co-wrote Thunder Underground, which is fine, but I don't love it. Um, I think the riff in My Jekyll Doesn't Hide, I think it's a really good riff. I think as far as like like the song itself, though, I think Perry Mason is the standout track to me. And those are the only two songs that I actually have that are above 3.5.
Yeah, I have three songs in this album that are fours. Everything else is below that. So I'm just
So
basically
what are
already telling you I don't like his.
yeah, what are your fours?
My fours are Perry Mason, Thunder Underground, and My Jekyll Doesn't Hide. So the three songs you already mentioned,
Yeah, and
same.
honestly, I think Thunder Underground has some potential, but I just think it's kind of a disappointment in the execution
It's
of it. So
I don't disagree with that, but the riff is so powerful. I love the guitar riff so much. I'm like, yeah, I got to give this a four. I have to.
yeah,
And
fair enough, fair enough.
um, the chorus, I like the verses. I think the verse and the pre-chorus more than I guess. Well, there's not much of a chorus really if you think about it.
Right. Yeah.
But it is a little monotonous, kind of, sort of. But the riff is really really strong. And there's not a lot of really strong riffs on this record, I don't think, which is one of the reasons why this record didn't hit me as hard as No More Tears. I know when I first got it, I was a little disappointed with it because
Yeah.
the lead single Perry Mason is a pretty hard hitting track, but there's a lot of stuff on this record that isn't.
Yeah. I mean, I think Perry Mason's a great tune, great song. I gave it a solid four. But and it's like Steve Vai co-wrote My Little Man, but it's I just my note for My Little Man is meh. It's
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
what's the lowest scoring song for you on Osmosis?
I have, well, one, two, four of them. I gave threes. I gave threes to I Just Want You, Denial, My Little Man, and Old LA Tonight. And I probably could have gone a little bit lower than the reason I didn't go below. There's nothing on any of those songs that are cringeworthy for me. There's nothing where I would knock it and say I can't handle that. That's not listenable. That's kind of my criteria. So when I listen to a song, everything starts at a three and it goes up or below from three. So everything starts at a three. So when I listen to My Little Man, the needle didn't move. It just kind of, okay, I can take it or leave it. It's a three. But there's too many threes on this
Yeah.
record because there's three and a half.
It's interesting. My kind of take it or leave it spot is 2.5. So we kind of tend to approach the things the same way, just with a slightly different starting point. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
There's I don't want to use the word like forgettable. There's nothing really forgettable or bad on the record, but like I said, it's lacking the power and the punch and the hooks and the riffs that you have on No More Tears.
um,
And if I don't think they were trying to make No More Tears Part Two, and they could have because it was like, oh, this is a really big record, a great tour, but they didn't do that with Ozzmosis, and I think the songs just don't stand up to the songs on No More Tears. That's me. I don't know about you.
I I actually would use the term forgettable. I think some of the stuff is forgettable. Not that it's bad necessarily, but I also think some of it comes down to vocal performances and vocal production, which might be
Mm.
a matter of the mix. I think Ozzy sounds a little shrill in parts on this album. Um, I don't think he sounds good singing like Ghost Behind My Eyes. The chorus on that kind of grates
Oh,
on
of
me a little
course, yeah,
bit.
I can
Um,
see.
I gave my lowest scores. Well, the lowest score I gave is Old LA Tonight. I gave that a two. I just don't like it.
It,
Um, and then I have four 2.5s. Ghost Behind My Eyes, Tomorrow, Denial, and My Little Man. I just like, okay. I mean, they're there. It's
so
fine.
yeah, we're talking about the same songs as low points. We just give them different grades. So basically, we kind of agree on Osmosis. We're just grading it a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my tendency is to I think there's a trend which is I think you tend to give out more fives and more like ones or even zeros occasionally,
Yeah.
whereas I'm a little bit more kind of I kind of compact my scores usually between in the middle of the 1 to 5 range. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting. We're
I'm
actually are more in agreement on some of this than I would have realized. I
I'm going
don't.
to throw out a term. I want to see if you agree with this in a way to describe this record. My notes say tired. Does this record come across to you as like an artist or a band that's just kind of tired at this point, a little bit running on empty? Which is interesting because this record comes 4 years after No More Tears, but it's almost like this was the best thing they could come up with. This was it.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
so
First of
tired.
all, I think
You get that at all?
yes. I think that's a perfect word for it. It does sound tired to me. And I would also say it sounds like a tired solo thing, which again, they're Ozzy solo albums, but I liked I liked Ozzy's solo albums when you got more of a band vibe out of the whole thing. And I don't get the band vibe here. I get solo artist vibe,
Right.
which is that doesn't make it
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's a bad record or anything. It's just
Oh,
yeah.
no,
I do
but I
think
agree with
I
that.
do think that the tired feel is there, and that's what I think draws it down a little bit. Now, there is a bonus track. I failed to write it down, the title. I can't remember what it's called, but it was co-written with Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw. And my note says, because I when I was listening to this again, I was actually listening to the streaming version of it, and that's where I heard the bonus track. And my note says, better than most of the album.
I'm not even sure if I've ever heard this song. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, you could look it up, but
Is it like a Japanese issue or something like that? Do you know?
it
Like
might
a,
have been, I don't know, but it's on all the streaming versions of it now.
I'll check.
So, so yeah, it's funny. And then from that point forward, and when it came out, I was like, yeah, okay, there's I wasn't wild about it, but there was a few songs I dug. I dug, like I said, My Jekyll Doesn't Hide and Perry Mason, but the rest of it was just kind of lackluster to me. So
That's a good term. Tired and lackluster.
yeah. And then what year is Down to Earth?
I think it's 2001, isn't it? 2000 or
Yeah,
2001.
2001, because I did not buy this until this year.
Okay.
Now, and I do remember when you had it, because you did get it when it came out.
Mhm.
And I actually remember listening to it one time. I remember listening to your copy one time, and I remember thinking, I don't think I'll ever listen to this again. Now, I
But he
did,
did.
obviously, but it took me a long time to do it. It took me a long time to get there. Um, so this is where, let's see, Joe Holmes had come into the band on
Right.
guitar, and so there's some co-writes with Joe Holmes and Robert Trujillo, actually. But Zach actually came back and recorded the record, so
And doesn't write anything. Zach only has no writing credits on the whole record. He just played the songs that were
right,
written,
right,
which
correct.
is weird,
Now,
really strange.
now there are a lot of Marty Fredrickson co-writes on this.
Yep. Mhm.
Um, it was produced by Tim Palmer, who had done Robert Plant, U2, Tears for Fears. It's a really eclectic,
Yeah.
um, you know, and Tim Palmer also gets a lot of writing credits on the record. And like you pointed out, Zach Wild plays guitar, but he doesn't write anything.
Right.
My overall comment on the album is even the more up-tempo tracks are sort of meh. And to me, there is one one standout track on this record, which
Wonder what
is
it is.
so here's the thing. If this album scored really, really close to Ozzmosis for me, and if I had scored this one track half a point different, it would have actually outranked Ozzmosis, which kind of gives away a little bit of my ranking there. But I wanted to say that just because on any given day, three and a half, a two and a half, a four and a, whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
it can make a difference with close records.
Yeah.
Um, the song that is the runaway favorite for me on this is That I Never Had.
That's interesting because that is one of the lowest scoring songs that I have on this record. That's
Well,
interesting.
okay. Now I want to make sure because and by the way, my dog is over here on so if my lighting goes like that's because Louise is
Maybe she
decided
just
to
wants
right.
to join the
So
discussion.
I'm gonna
That's
check
really
something. I'm gonna check something here,
that
folks. Go ahead.
no, I was saying that's interesting. I mean, yeah, that's I would have expected a different song, but I don't I don't dislike any real I don't really don't dislike any of the songs on the record. I'll say
Uh,
that. I like this album better than Ozzmosis. Um, I think there's some there might not be any tracks on the record that are as good as any of the high points on the other three records we talked about,
Hmm.
but I think this record is consistently pretty strong. I
I
have
think it's
I have I have five four-star songs on this record.
wow. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah, four.
I
If you want to
cannot.
count, if you want to count, part one, which is really not really a song. I just quite like it so much. I rarely give tracks like that a very high grade because it's not really a. I give that a four, but Facing Hell, No Easy Way Out, Junkie, and Black. I love Black Illusion, so I give those all 4 stars.
So okay,
I quite
okay.
like them.
So backtrack. So which ones do you give 4 stars?
Facing Hell.
By the way, Jeff Nichols co-wrote that.
There you go.
Okay.
No Easy Way Out.
Okay.
You know, part one, which is
Yeah.
annoying because there's no part two.
Right.
Junkie and Black Illusion.
Okay. Jeff Nichols also co-wrote Black Illusion. To anybody who doesn't know, Jeff Nichols had been keyboard player for Black Sabbath.
Yes.
So I gave Black Illusion a 3. Um, I do have a note here. It's one of the more interesting choruses on the album. I thought Black Illusion was, I
Yeah.
think it's a good song.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting
I gave
chorus. You're right.
I gave Junkie a 3. I gave No Easy Way Out a 3, and I gave Facing Hell a 3.
And
So
I gave that I never had a three, and you gave it a higher grade than I did. So um,
I gave it a 3.5. On a good day, I could give it a 4, but I gave it a 3.5. I think the riff in That I Never Had is the standout riff on the record. And I'm going to go so far as to say this. I think, and then this doesn't necessarily indicate how this album ranks relative to all the other albums, but I think That I Never Had, I would probably say that's the best song on any album from Down to Earth all the way to the end.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again. Maybe I'm missing something.
I think you,
That's a pretty strong statement. That means
well,
you.
it also could be a statement about the mediocrity of everything that follows. But,
Yeah, but
but,
yeah,
but
yes.
one strong song on an album doesn't necessarily mean that that whole album is going to outrank the other albums. So
No,
we have,
but
get to.
but I also know you well enough to know that you wouldn't make these comments about it, saying the best riff and this and that if you didn't quite like it. So
Oh, I think That I Never Had is a great song. I really do. I think it's a really, really, really good song.
I'll have to revisit it. What uh, So if you had to pick like a low point on the record, and we haven't really talked about the production, we can talk about some of the production
I think
again.
it
You have
sounds
Zach playing the
I
guitar.
think it sounds good.
I
It's
think it sounds,
it's
I think it sounds good. We're getting into the era where, as you get later in Ozzy's career, I have to ask myself how much of the vocal work is genuinely him versus how much of it is manipulated and produced.
yeah,
It's much more apparent on later records where
right.
you have to think that can't be. There's been something here to fix this because given what we knew about his health and everything, um, I just have questions about that. But on the whole, I guess this record sounds really good, and Zach's playing is really good. I just wish Zach would have had some writing on this record. I have to believe that the record would have been benefited from his input.
Yeah.
Maybe he helped with arrangements, and maybe he helped with melody ideas, whatever. But for him to play on the record and not write anything is a little bit of a disappointment. But if
Yeah.
you had to pick a low point on the record, you can only
Well,
pick what's going to be.
I can't
Okay.
because the reason I can't is because there are there's to me there was no one song that was the low point, and so therefore there's no low point that's really memorable.
Okay.
Some of the low points come from the fact that some of these tunes just aren't terribly memorable to me. So I'll say this. The lowest score I gave any song on this album is 2.5.
Mm.
And I gave Gets Me Through 2.5, Dreamer 2.5, Part One 2.5, Running Out of Time, 2.5, and Alive, 2.5.
Okay.
It's just nah. Eh.
I got to agree on running out of time. I think for me that I gave that a three, and I have some other songs that are threes, but that's probably my least favorite track on the record. I don't really care for the chorus all that much. Um,
Yeah.
there's some moments that are don't want to use the word forgettable, but it's not a high point. There's no. I think it's a pretty consistent record for where Ozzy was in 2001 in this stage of his career. And again, we're 6 years removed. I mean, for 10 years after No More Tears, he'd only done one record in between this and No More Tears. And this is not anywhere close to how good No More Tears is,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
just as better than Ozzmosis. I got to be honest.
well, that's a nice segue into the rankings.
Yeah.
I think that like I can put this album on and I can listen to it. It's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay, so are we ready to rank mid the four middle Ozzy albums?
You know it.
And this is easy for me.
All
So
right, I'm ready when you are.
crack the old knuckles here. In the number four
Drum
spot for me is,
ready?
yep, Down to Earth.
I got Osmosis
Okay.
in the fourth.
All right. That's number four. Number three for me is Ozzmosis.
I got Down to Earth. So we just
Okay.
kind of switched.
So let me ask you, just you don't need to go through like all of the numbers, but how close were those two albums in your ranking?
2.8%. Pretty
Um,
close.
Mine was less than 1%.
Wow. Okay. So if
1%.
you would have changed that one song, it would have changed everything.
Yeah, that's why. Okay. In the number two spot, for me, it is No More Tears.
For me,
Hmm.
it's
Okay, well, that leaves it. The number one
yeah.
spot for me is No Rest for the Wicked.
For me, it's No More
No
Tears.
More Tears. Okay, so what is the difference between No More Tears and No Rest for the Wicked for you in terms of the scoring?
Um, it is about 4 percentage points, so it's pretty close.
For me, it's not close. It's about 9 points.
And the difference between No Rest for the Wicked and Down to Earth for me is about seven. So there's a quite a big gap between. That's the biggest gap between two and three. 7 point gap for me.
Oh wow, my because I have like a 9 point gap just between No Rest for the Wicked and No More Tears. My gap between No Rest for the Wicked and Down to Earth is wow, 18 points.
Okay, so here's a question.
18 percentage points.
So you gave No Rest for the Wicked comes in at number one for you in this group of four. What score did you give that? What percent did that get for you?
74.44.
Okay, in comparison, my number one, No More Tears, was 82.73%.
Hmm.
I actually graded No Rest for the Wicked higher than you, 78.89%.
Hmm.
So this is an example of, like you said, we just make grade things differently. But I graded it higher than you, but it came in number one for you. Obviously, I like I use that shouldn't be using that word. I graded the other albums a little bit, not as hard as you did. So it's
Yeah,
all relative.
it's relative because you kind of have your baseline. Your baseline is a little higher than my baseline, where we tend to start from. But the main thing is being consistent with yourself. It's like I kind of know to myself what a 5-star song is. I know what a four kind of feels like to me, and you do the same for yourself. So
And I wasn't surprised, Brian, that these two came out top. I had a feeling these were going to be, the top two out of these four. It was pretty obvious.
this did not surprise me in the least. This one, no. Um, well, the only I guess I should say I'm kind of surprised that Down to Earth and Osmosis were that close. But other than that, yeah. Okay, well, thanks for sticking around. If you're an Ozzy fan and if you have thoughts of your own, what do you think of these albums? Comment below, like, subscribe, etc. I mentioned at the beginning that we are part of a musical project called Underlords of the Overworld. We do write and record. Our YouTube channel is pretty lo-fi, but our recordings they sound pretty good. You can find the stuff on
Good.
Bandcamp streaming services. Our bass player writes under the name H. Prescott Lemon. That's his pen name.
He's a sourpuss.
Yeah, there you go. And he wrote a kind of a fictional multi-part history, zany.
Ah, but is it all
Young
fiction, my
thing.
friend? Is it all fiction?
I'd say about 95, well, about 99.9% of it is fiction.
I have to read it and
Uh,
find it.
and he has an occult-inspired spinoff called the OAO.
Yes.
Check out our song called Ordo Obstrusus Oculus, which is inspired by the theme of that book, and it is there's a version of it that has Blaze Bayley on vocals. Check that out. Um, Josh also has his new volume, I should say, H. Prescott Lemon has his
Yes.
volume of short stories in the Underlords universe called Smaller Than Death, and we have some recordings in the works that are related to that. So, if you want to check out that stuff, and we have links below. The Josh's H. Prescott Lemon, HP Lemon's books are on Amazon. Physical copies of these things called CDs. They are on Bandcamp, and you can stream the stuff as well. So anyway, there you go. Thanks for checking it out. Let us know what you think of the Ozzy catalog, and we're going to try to get part three of that within the next, I don't know, week or so. Probably do that.
Yeah. We got to do the summation, which will be fun to see where all this stuff, how this all this stuff fits together.
Right. So, okay. Well, that's that. Until next time.
Later, folks.
Later, folks. Toodles.